We're going to be working on the turbo setup today. We're going to try to get the turbo mounted up to the manifold. We're going to get it plumbed and get it all ready to put onto the engine. Couple tips and tricks today, so appreciate you watching the last video, and let's get right into it. So to get started here, would recommend doing some anti-seize on these studs here, so you don't have any issues in the future. A little bit on there. All right, now we're gonna do 2 nuts on the end of the stud here and lock them down together so that we can seat the stud into the flange. Nice and tight. So we got the Tomei hardware kit gasket right here. It's looks like it's a layered gasket. Should seal up pretty nice. Right there. We got these GK Tech locking tabs. It should help hold the bolts in place. I don't even know if this one's gonna fit on here. This one for the backside, actually, we needed to take a little section out of the middle for it to clear. But these help when these tabs get folded over at the end. It helps make it to where the flange doesn't come apart and get loose over time. All right, so we're gonna do, we got the turbo put onto the manifold. We got your locking tabs on there. And now we're gonna start putting the fittings into the core. So I'm gonna start with the water out hose. So I got the vise right here. We're gonna put these AN fittings onto the banjo bolt first in the vise. Once we get this all together and get it in the car, this is going to be the water out. It's going to end up going around the back of the engine, and we're going to tap into the upper radiator hose. This one's going to go in here. We'll put some thread sealer on there when we're ready, and then the elbow is going to go on here, and it's going to end up going right here. So, all right. So moving on here, we've got the water in pipe. It's going the inside of the turbo here. This one's actually going to get clocked down. If we can move this over here, it's going to go straight down because this one's going to end up going into the side of the block. When we go back over to the car at some point, we'll show you this fitting right here actually does end up going into the block. So little coolant port that they have on there. Make sure we get gasket on both sides. There. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is the oil drain here. Now, typically this one you'll have like a -10 coming out of it or something, but with the Tomei kit that we're using, it has this nice barbed fitting that gets the hot side away from where the connection's at. So this one here, we actually have to drill this hole out a little bit. Now we got our gasket here for the flange. We got it drilled out. One right there. So we've got, this is the bolt that the turbo came with for the oil feed. And it says on this turbo here, the ISR turbo kit, it says too that it definitely wants you to run a -3 for the feed. And I was doing some research, reason being is because these journal bearing turbos, they don't like to be over oiled or they could cause it to smoke or whatever. So the Tomei kit came with a -4. So we went ahead and got a 3-foot -3 hose so that we don't have that issue. We'll go ahead and get this put on real quick here. Okay, so we'll put a little NACs on these ones here. We're gonna mount the elbow up to here real quick. Get this one started just like the same way as the manifold to the turbo. Alright, so we're going to use the gasket that came with the Tomei kit for the elbow on the back here. This is the last piece that we need to put on here before we are ready to go. If you can see, we've got all the lines all bolted up, coolant, oil. We've got the oil feed up here with your -3 line coming around. I believe the ISR kit comes with this perforated gasket. I have seen these fail more times than the layered ones, so if you have the option or if it's in the budget, I would definitely recommend this one over this one here. So we'll just slip this on and put this in here just like that. Now we are going to be running a wideband sensor on here, so this plug can go away for future use. And just start them up. Okay, so I started getting these tight and I just noticed something. You've got to have these all loose so that this bottom one right here can get started, because once the stud comes all the way through, it's such a tight fit that you won't be able to actually get it to start on the threads there. So I just wanted to make a note of that real quick. We got the elbow on there. We're going to get these downpipe studs started. It's going to be easier to do this now rather than when it's in the car. On to the next. We got the turbo assembly all put together. We might take a little detour on this project. I think I want to tear down the engine bay a little bit farther and maybe do some engine bay paint. So next video, we're going to start prepping that and getting the engine bay all ready to go for paint. So stay tuned.